Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for February 17th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 48. Yeah? Or 47?
I don't know.
Hold on. We're doing it live. It's 48, so I'm right. Okay. At any rate, I am Mayor Watt, and we don't edit, so that whole thing is going to be there at the beginning. And I run ohmtown.com, and I use it to manage my information overload, so you can too. Now it's available to everybody. This is the 4th year that I've made it public. Go over and check it all out. And along with the sentient AI, whose visualizer is right there, and you just heard them, we talk about 10 articles. Those 10 articles today are microchip tracking service goes dark-ish, Kurt Vonnegut's lost board game, costumes from Stranger Things, a VR treadmill Omni 1, cow herd at wedding party, oldest modern bird, recalls could damage brand, Cleanfall physics roguelike, it's actually a roguelite, and New Zealand needs tourists. I don't know, though. And finally, salty New Jersey tap water. It's what New Jerseyans want. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com, so go over there and become a citizen. It's real easy. And follow us on Twitch and over on YouTube. Download the podcast. There's a Patreon and a Discord. We're pretty much everywhere. And if you want the show notes, you can hit bang or exclamation point NSN, and that'll be in the VOD now, but not over on YouTube because it's in the show notes already, so see ya. But don't go away. Hi, hello everybody, and hello sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
So we got the 10 articles all set up, so why don't we just get into it? The very first one actually kind of spooked me because I know about these microchips, and there's good and bad. And the bad has always been, apparently they have the potential to cause cancer in your pets. But if you talk to veterinarians, they will tell you that the good outweighs the bad and that it's rare. But that's based on the population numbers of pets. So a lot of pets actually get these. I know from experience that one of ours was lost to this same thing. And so when I saw this, I said, it'll give us a chance to talk about that, and it'll give us a chance to talk about what might be going on with this. Well, the article is over in Non Sequitur News, which is the name of this show, but it's also a channel over at ohmtown.com. Animal lovers alarmed as company goes dark after putting microchips in tens of thousands of pets. So it's a standard practice in the veterinary field to microchip pets. So standard, in fact, that some 3.5 million household animals in the U.S. have this little rice-sized chip. It's an RFID chip in a little cylinder. And it's supposed to be, what do they call that?
Like passive or something?
Well, it's neutral inside the body, so it's not going to react. But the body does react with any foreign object to some degree, and sometimes it turns out negative, but it's a long-term thing, and you don't really know about it until you go to pet your pet, and they have a mass there. Anyway, these little rice-sized chips are RFID chips, and you scan them. It tells the person that finds them, shelters in particular, go and pick up your pet.
Right, and they are responsible for, not this company, but microchips in general, for lots of pets getting reunited with owners.
Correct. Yeah. So helping rescue groups reunite owners with their furry friends in the event of a pet getting loose. So it's also standard that microchipping is run as a for-profit business, and as one microchip company in Texas is showing, businesses don't always pan out. Well, the article has a deck statement error, pet not found. It's by Joe Wilkins in a futurism.com article. And they've got a Getty image of what looks like maybe a greyhound.
Maybe a greyhound, yeah.
I don't know. So this week, the Washington Post reported that Save This Life, a chipping and records company responsible for safeguarding pets through the U.S., had been listed as inactive in the Texas Comptroller tax records. Though the company's website remains online, no one is apparently answering emails, phone calls, or inquiries into the pet's chips. The website is active. I saw this and I went over to it. So that's leaving pet owners, shelters, and veterinarians concerned, as the company likely holds records related to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of microchips. President of nonprofit chipping service AKC Reunite, Tom Sharp, told WAPO, Washington Post. So the pet microchipping process is a little convoluted. In most cases, the microchips themselves don't have any of the pet owner's data, as is sometimes assumed. It's actually a code that links to somebody and blah, blah, blah. But in essence...
but then somebody can check it somewhere.
Right. But it contains the information that leads somebody to someone. Okay. The problem here is that now that business might be going under, but somebody has to buy that, or they have to give it up.
Exactly. I mean, turn this database or something over to the city or something, make it accessible in some way. This is absolutely ridiculous, because people aren't going to get their pets double microchipped, or
Right.
This is really bad. And we've talked about other digital things going away. This is a whole nother level.
Yeah. So, for example, what happens if a development company shuts down servers running a video game, as the AI just mentioned? Anyone who paid money for that game will no longer be able to access it, and the experience will be lost to time, while the company that sold the copy is under no obligation to return its revenue. That's a relatively harmless case unless you work in media preservation, but as more and more of our data finds its way out of our hands and into the hands of big companies, it's raising questions about the obligations they have to ensure transparency and access. Well, hate to break it to you, more and more companies are actually licensing information, and it can be modified and vaporized at any given moment, because all you are doing is getting a license to consume it for the given period of time that they afford it. This is actually happening right now with Amazon, in that the Kindle books are no longer going to be allowed to be downloaded to anything other than Kindle devices, and you can't download it and store it on a PC, according to various reports that I have read now. So if you have a Kindle library, for which I know somebody that has over 850 books in their Kindle library.
Right. I mean, that's pretty significant if that goes away.
Yeah. So what happens in this chip? Well, you have to remove it, or you leave it and get another one. But people aren't going to double chip, not necessarily, or they're going to worry that maybe that next company is going to go under. I think that this has to have a continuity. This has to be a legislative continuity of operations type of system in place, so that a company that has relevant, personally identifiable information cannot go off into the wind.
Absolutely. I mean, this is just really unacceptable. The other thing is, if you have any control over microchipping of your pet and decide to do it, consider going for a nonprofit, although that could still be shuttered as well, but it has a different motive than a for-profit like this one that was mentioned in here.
Yeah. And unfortunately, if every state decides on a method and mode, then it gets balkanized, and they aren't necessarily compatible, because everybody thinks that they know how to do it better than everybody else.
Right. And you don't want that, because pets don't stay in boundaries. They wander wherever somebody picks them up and takes them across a state line.
Yep. Man, this is alarming. So I don't know yet. They haven't really done an update to this. It says, in many cases of microchips for our furry friends, it seems that profit, not love of pets, may be the deciding factor. So now
I actually submitted this as a potential short.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It just seemed like it was an interesting discussion piece.
I think it's bigger than that then. So I'm glad that it got pulled into the regular show. But I can do a short as well. In fact, this can be turned into a short. So let's get into this next article. This next article is over in WarCrafters. Kurt Vonnegut's Lost board game is back in stores after 70 years of obscurity and one sold-out print run. A board game enthusiast and NYU Game Center teacher, Jeff Engelstein, was stunned to find while trawling the archives of celebrated author Kurt Vonnegut at Indiana University evidence that a 1956 Vonnegut developed and spent a year pitching a board war game to publishers, and at the time it was never brought to market. So alongside the letters and other whatnot, GHQ General Headquarters, Vonnegut's simple board war game. It was never published, but Vonnegut, of course, went on to incredible fame, particularly for the novel Slaughterhouse-5, which, by the way, is probably the reason why this game is famous now.
Well, sure. But if it's anything to the degree of the novels, it might be worth checking out.
So the article is by Jonathan Bolding over at PCGamer.com, and you can go and check out the minutia of this article. But they basically, not Jonathan Bolding or PC Gamer, but Jeff Engelstein, because they are a game aficionado, they actually rounded out this game to make it playable, to make it marketable, and brought it to market. GHQ is a fast-playing strategy game using an 8x8 checkerboard grid where you place and maneuver your units of infantry, armored vehicles, artillery, and your potent airborne unit in order to capture the enemy's headquarters unit. It's a simple yet interesting combination of rules that require you to utilize real-world combined arm tactics in order to win. No single unit can really succeed in taking an enemy piece on its own. Players over at industry faithful Bellwether Board Game Geek have so far rated GHQ as pretty dang good at a 7.9, with many posts citing the quality of the components. As a board gamer and amateur game historian themselves, it's a very interesting game just because it's a war game. Before there were standards of what a war game should look like, this is the same era as seminal strategy genre definers like Risk, Diplomacy, and Tactics, after all. So this is it's interesting. This is all that it looks like. That's all it is right there.
Yeah, it does look very simple, but that doesn't mean it is.
Yeah, it's just an 8x8 grid with a bunch of different playing pieces on it. It actually looks like it has, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 on each side. It's similar to chess.
Or checkers or something.
Checkers. Yeah, I'm not sure what each piece has in terms of what it can do, but you can actually get this game at Barnes & Noble.
It actually looks a little bit like Battleship to me.
Yeah, without the hidden element.
Right,
of it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no vertical, just in case you're listening to this via the podcast. And I know you are, because you're all downloading it, right? Right? All right.
Right.
Go download it. Let's keep going. This next article is over on the Mobile channel. You could own costumes from Stranger Things to benefit LA wildfire relief. Want to own some Stranger Things or Wicked memorabilia and donate to a good cause? You're in luck. Justin Carter over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. And it says, currently outfits from Stranger Things and House of Dragon are being sold off in a charity auction held by Prop Store, which is separately selling production material from Blade Runner 2049, including Rachel's bones. Weird. And the Costume Designer Guild Awards. Until next Friday, February 21st, interested people can put money down on costumes for two popular shows, respectively designed by Amy Paris and Janie Tamime. And the proceeds will go towards IATSE's Emergency Relief Fund. It says the HBO drama is selling Demon Targaryen's dragon riding costume and the 6th episode of Dragon's first season, which features intricate Targaryen embroidery. Oh, that's not it right there, though, huh? That's just
that looks like a puffer jacket.
That's one of those puffer jackets. It says it up here. Stranger Things items include Hawkins High School uniforms for cheerleading, basketball, Eddie's Hellfire Club t-shirt, and Joyce Byers' puffer jacket, as seen below. And it says if neither of those are your interest you, then you can actually check out the full features of items for Wicked, Furiosa, and plenty more. The links are actually embedded in the article over at gizmodo.com. But Prop Store Auction is the...
Yeah, these auctions are fun. Some of the prices are exorbitant, but I know they're going toward charities.
Yeah. And maybe that's the purpose, right? For the people that are bidding on it, but I guess it doesn't matter as long as everybody is bidding up higher, because it's helping out a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hopefully people hear this and go over and raise the auction prices. Let's keep going. This next article is over in RealityHacker. I'm not sure. I don't know why that got embedded, but anyway. So VR treadmill Omni One adds new games to lineup, including Arizona Sunshine Series and Into the Radius. Virtuix, the company known for its line of VR treadmills, announced that it's adding 9 more VR games to its lineup of titles supported by the Omni One all-in-one system. The company says Omni One now supports over 55 titles, with its most recent additions including Arizona Sunshine Remake, Arizona Sunshine 2, and Into the Radius. I have played all of those. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played it on an Omni, though.
I'm waiting on more Arizona Sunshine.
Yeah, there's more and more Arizona Sunshine. So other newly added titles include Ascent Quest, Everslot Invasion, Motion Soccer, Thief Simulator VR, Totally Basketball, Venture Gauntlet VR, letting you physically walk, run, crouch, kneel, jump, strafe, and backpedal in games that would otherwise map movement to a thumbstick. There is an embedded video in the article. You can actually probably go to YouTube, and yeah, it's on YouTube. But
I'd be worried about playing soccer on there because it seems like you'd lift your leg to kick the ball and go flying, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know how that actually works. You can stand, I guess, in the bottom of the bowl. You're basically walking on a frisbee that's turned upside down. And you run inside this thing with slippery shoes, and sensors that are on those sliders actually move you throughout the game. And then around the perimeter is a ring that follows you because you're literally velcroed into this armature.
Right, yeah, it looks like you're kind of wearing a harness.
Yeah, it's a vest that kind of just ties you in. So if you get really tired, I guess you could just hang there.
Yeah, which kind of defeats the purpose, right? Part of it's immersive, but also exercise.
It's a gliding simulator, but... Well, Scott Hayden over at roadtovr.com put the article together, and what I've done is basically go through the whole thing, but the treadmill is priced at $3,500. The Austin, Texas-based creators of the prosumer-targeted VR system say it's now shipping has shipped over 1,000 units, and you can learn more about it by following the hands-on that they've got embedded in this article. Launched in September of 2024, Omni One not only includes a VR treadmill, but also a customized Pico 4 Enterprise VR headset and access to a library of supported content via its Omni One store. So I use the Pico 4, but not Enterprise. It has a little more of everything. So that alone, if you buy this, you're basically paying about $2,500 for
the enterprise level headset.
No, you're paying $2,500 for the treadmill, and then about $1,000 for the Pico.
Oh, okay, right. I mean, this is still cool. This is going to increase adoption of this, and also maybe as more competitors get on the market, maybe the pricing will go down.
I like the idea of this. I've actually been considering this since I started streaming to do this in the moments when I'm not doing news, and basically highlight the idea of this treadmill. But you're kind of you're jammed in there, you're oops. Oh, it moved right.
Right, you have a very specific space in which to move.
Yeah, and while it'll fit behind me, I don't know if I want it there all the time. Anyway, pretty neat piece of kit. I would do it if the situation changes. If people say, you know what, I really want to watch somebody playing VR games and see the treadmill itself, see me running in the corner. Anyway, you want to keep
That would
going?
be fun.
Yeah,
Sure.
maybe. Yeah. All right. I don't know. I get bored with stuff. The only thing that hasn't gotten me bored is streaming news and talking about it with people.
You don't want to be on there and drifting off. That might be dangerous. Mayor Watt. Mayor Watt.
What? Huh? Oh, we're streaming. Oh. Hi, I'm Mayor Watt, and I run Oh, wait.
Yes, we already did that.
Oh, we're past it. Okay. So this next article, that's it. That's where we are. Non Sequitur News. We get to watch how a cow herd makes its move into a wedding party. One couple enjoying an outdoor wedding in Scotland ended up with a much bigger circle than they had intended. ABC News' Danny New has the details. The article is over at abcnews.go.com. And I don't know who put it together. I don't know. Brittany Nyhouse Photography, I guess, took a picture of this, but I'm going to hit play. It's muted.
Well, that doesn't look like a place where cows can get to because they're showing a balcony.
Yeah, it's indoor. Oh, okay. And then they, I guess for another portion of their wedding, they were out.
Maybe the reception, yeah.
They were outside. I'm not going to... Oh, they're actually doing the wedding outside.
Oh, okay. The ceremony. Got it.
Yeah, they were doing the ceremony, and I guess while they were doing the ceremony, all of the cows came from the field over to that house because they were doing it in the backyard. There was a fence, so the cows couldn't get there.
Oh, I see now. Like they're all, the whole background of the photo is cows.
Is cows, yeah. And while they're doing the... See, there weren't any cows, but then
You
when they
should put
started...
the sound on to see if they're all mooing.
I think sometimes he thinks he's a bit of a sheepdog rounding up the herd.
By the time Francesco, around 3 dozen hooved wedding crashers.
So it's funny because as the guests were gathering their seats, the cows were also getting ready to, be in appearance.
Wedding photographer Brittany Niehaus here took these now viral videos of all these cows crowding the altar.
Okay,
that
that's
actually
interesting.
happened last spring. However, Brittany decided randomly to post it on Instagram a few weeks ago and was shocked when it quickly picked up millions of views. Commenters writing, "Did you say I moo?" And they all wore white.
We wanted to choose something that actually...
All right.
I was hoping we'd get some sounds from the cows, but it is pretty spectacular. Like, they're not just there, they're intentionally going over to the wedding site.
Yeah, it's interesting. And that's all this is. It's a video report. So go over and check it out for yourself. You can turn up the volume as loud as you want. All right. Our next article is over in Technology Today. A 69 million year evolutionary mystery. Scientists discover oldest modern bird. New clues explore the age-old question: does a duck always look like a duck and quack like a quack? A duck. Anyway, 66 million years ago, at the end of the Cretaceous period, an asteroid impact near the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico triggered the extinction of all known non-avian dinosaurs. That's an assumption based on some evidence. Yet, this article over at scitechdaily.com by Ohio University has additional information. For early ancestors of today's waterfowl, surviving the mass extinction event was like water off a duck's back. Location played a crucial role, and Antarctica may have served as a refuge, its remoteness shielding it from the upheaval occurring elsewhere on the planet. Fossil evidence suggests a temperate climate with lush vegetation, potentially providing an incubator for the earliest members of the group that now include ducks and geese.
I mean, who knew? I don't think we think of that for Antarctica today.
Yeah, hey, a little bit of space rocks smashing into Earth and distributing salt water all over the place and maybe scrubbing some things off the map and, rearranging things. Who knows what happened?
Exactly. Moving animals all over the place.
Few birds are as likely to start as many arguments among paleontologists as Vegavis, or Vegavis, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, says lead author Dr. Torres, now a professor at University of the Pacific. This new fossil is going to help resolve a lot of those arguments. Chief among them, where is Vegavis perched in the bird tree of life? It was first reported 20 years ago by study co-author Dr. Julia Clark of the University of Texas at Austin and several colleagues. At that time, it was proposed as an early member of modern, also known as crown birds, that was evolutionarily nested within waterfowl, but modern birds are exceptionally rare before the end of the Cretaceous extinction. And more recent studies have cast doubt on the evolutionary position of Vegavis. The new specimen described in the study has something that all previous fossils of birds have lacked: a nearly complete skull.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And is this like an artist rendering?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So that also looks a little bit similar to a modern day puffin. Obviously, the dimensions aren't right, but that's also interesting to me because that's found in an Arctic environment, or
Yeah.
cold weather at least.
Yeah, cold weather for sure. I wonder if they actually mentioned that. Doesn't really say, huh? They just say, they refer to modern bird all over, modern waterfowl all over.
That sounds like a kid's rhyme or something.
Modern bird,
Yes.
modern waterfowl. So, and those few places with any substantial fossil record of late Cretaceous birds, like Madagascar and Argentina, reveal an aviary of bizarre, now extinct species with teeth and long, bony tails, also distantly related to modern birds. Something very different seems to have been happening in the far reaches of the southern hemisphere, specifically in Antarctica, noted Dr. O'Connor. So this thing was isolated and may have survived. Now they talk about advancing science through research and education. So they're going to need to, if you want to know about the past, you have to be able to fund that historical research. And it's usually not something that ends up with something productive in the physical sense, but knowledge in and of itself advances the understanding of all life on Earth. And some believe that that is beneficial to all here to understand how we got here.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's relevant for biology, but other scientific fields as well.
Yep. So that we can truly grasp the dynamic changes our planet has undergone over millions of years. The study is a prime example of real-world experiential learning that connects STEM education with hands-on transformative research, preparing the next generation of scientists to tackle the challenges of the future. Let's keep on moving. The next article is over in Mobile. Opportunistic car recalls could damage brands. Opportunistic tactics used by automotive dealerships could be doing damage to individual automotive brands globally. New research from Edith Cowan University has found.
I don't get where this is going because I don't think of a recall as being opportunistic, but I'll be interested to see what it's focused on.
We're trying to better our car by doing a recall that isn't forced on us because of whatever.
Right, like a voluntary recall.
Right. Like I've got something going on with my car where one of the doors sticks. They say that there's no recall, but looking online, you find out that there's, a systemic issue.
It's a known issue, yeah.
So in the automotive industry, product recalls have the potential to lead to reduced stock prices and long-term reputational damage, particularly when the cause of the defect is attributed and traced back to the manufacturer. Product recalls have become more frequent in today's markets, resulting in severe implications for consumers and companies that extend beyond the monetary losses. But these negative impacts could be further exacerbated when recalls are perceived to be opportunistic. A regular recall can be made either voluntarily or involuntarily. However, an opportunistic recall sees dealerships try to upsell customers other goods or services during the recall process to increase their firm's revenue, leading customers to pay out of pocket. It doesn't sit well with customers. There actually was one person in Japan that is being investigated right now because they would do things to the cars that were being brought in to advance ticket sales, increase sales, like flat
Oh, I
puncturing
see. Like
tires.
render the existing cars unusable or less desirable to own.
Yeah, hey, we had a recall about your car and you bring it in, but while we were there looking at everything, we found that your air filter needs to be replaced as well. But we just did that so that you know, and then you go, oh yeah, okay, fine. But if it's perceived that it's a recall that's opportunistic, then people get really pissed off about it, and so that's what
And
they
it
found
goes to the whole brand, right? Not just
Right.
the particular dealership.
Yeah, like I've never quite found why. Okay, so if you have your car in the shop and the shop gives you a loaner, why does the car dealership think that that's a good thing to place on the car? I'm driving this loaner while my car's in the shop.
Exactly. It's like one of those things that you don't want to
Yeah.
advertise.
Wow, I see the car in the shop an awful lot, you know? So a
I see
protest,
those loaner cars all the time for a certain brand.
yeah. For a certain dealership too. What is going on? Why are all these cars at that dealership?
Yeah, I guess they think it's like customer service points or something, but to me, it speaks to the level of reliability of the vehicle.
Yeah, no news is bad news is basically the ideology. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not running their business. So, and then the article basically discusses the fact that customers basically turn into a protest customer, telling other people don't go there and all of that.
Well, and that is true, right? Word of mouth is probably the fastest thing to kill a brand's reputation.
Yeah, they actually say in the article, though, when customers engage in protest, they might feel more involved, empowered, and heard in their relationship with the brand. This relationship, even though arising from a negative event in a product recall, could paradoxically strengthen customer loyalty. It also implies that protesting customers care enough about the brand that they want to see change in the brand rather than simply abandoning it.
Interesting view. I wouldn't characterize it that way, but
Yeah, I mean, if I have to bring my car in for a factory recall, it makes me wonder about the quality of the car, no matter how much the protest is. Let's keep going. This next article is over on the Mobile channel. Cleanfall mixes Terraria with physics-based roguelike, but it's actually a roguelite gameplay for a one-of-a-kind game. And I actually installed this, and we'll probably end up playing it today. We'll see. Depends on how
was
much.
it because of the article?
It just this title. Yeah. Because I haven't read any of it. All I know is that it says Cleanfall mixes Terraria with physics-based. So there's something so charming about side-scrolling game that has incredibly advanced physics. Cleanfall takes inspiration from games like Spelunky and Terraria, while mixing in some incredibly unique features on its own. The result is something unlike anything that the author has ever seen or played before, with a deeply infectious loop of trial and error that continued to surprise them throughout the time that they invested in the world. Cleanfall is something that you should be on your radar, especially as it continues to grow and evolve, and it's in early access right now. You can download a demo. Sean Sachaki, I think is their name, Sachaki, put this article together for Vice.com. There's a little screenshot of it, but apparently it's a side scroller. I'm not really into side scrolling, but I like the idea of what this thing actually does based on the little snippet that I saw. Cleanfall is an incredibly ambitious project with plenty of heart and tons of fun. At the beginning of Cleanfall Next Fest demo, they received a brief tutorial to explain its in-depth mechanics. It was a little overwhelming. Their weapon could help launch them in the right direction, but could also be used as a proper gun. But only if the enemy was small enough. Bigger enemies could only be pushed away when using it unless there's a specific variable to it. You get the point. So it's a physics-based shooter, side-scroller, with apparently roguelike or roguelite mechanics. So it says, I'm glad it's here. It makes Cleanfall feel like a singular experience. It's hand-drawn aesthetics, reminiscent of early Flash animations, made them feel right at home. And once they finally made it into the pit, it was time to explore. So there's a link to it, to some information about a Ender Magnolia bloom in the mist. Link about Cleanfall not being the type of game that they fall in love with, but after trying this one, they're going to end up digging.
Interesting.
Get some other things. Yeah.
That gives it even more credibility, right? Like if they're not predisposed to really liking this game type.
Yep. Yep. And me too. I'm not really into this kind of a game. It's a side scroller, and I'm into survival, base building, crafting games. It's why I created WarCrafter, the channel, the show that we do on Sunday nights. And this says that it mixed all together with some tower defense style elements, crafting, and the like. You've basically got this idea of what Cleanfall has to offer. It's one of the most ambitious indie games that they've ever played. So, seems like a fun game.
Yeah, sounds like it's worth checking out.
Yeah, and I'm not really into hand-drawn games, but I'll give it a try. I like procedural games where it's dynamic and changes every time I play it. Rounds, I'm looking at you, Rounds. Update your maps so that they are procedurally generated, so that no two are ever the same, and deformable. I want to be able to dig a hole through the Rounds map. All I want is a game like that, and I will be in love with that. Would be my forever game. Anyway, let's keep going. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, this next article.
Hopefully they're listening.
Yeah, they're not. But hopefully out there, they're listening. Somebody go call them and tell them. Okay, so check this out. We've talked about New Zealand and other places going, go away tourists, go away. This article flips the script. New Zealand needs tourists right now, but locals say its newest campaign is cringeworthy and tone deaf.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, a $287,000 or 500,000 New Zealand dollar campaign launched Sunday. Everyone must go. The government of New Zealand's latest tourism campaign.
Like
reads.
Leave?
Apparently, New Zealand launched a new tourism campaign to boost its economy amid a recession. The campaign targets Australians who are key to New Zealand's tourism recovery post-pandemic. Locals criticize the campaign's timing and its slogan, which some have called tone deaf. Wow. Joey Haddon over at BusinessInsider.com put the article together. I would love to go to New Zealand. So everyone must go. The government of New Zealand's latest tourism campaign reads, Australian tourism numbers on the island nation still haven't recovered entirely after the pandemic, sitting at 88% compared to 2019, and New Zealand's economy weakened overall in 2024, falling into a recession with the highest unemployment rate in nearly 4 years in November. Hold my beer, says someone. What this Tourism New Zealand campaign says to our Aussie mates is that we're open for business, there are some great deals on, and we'd love to see you soon. New Zealand Tourism and Hospitality Minister Lewis Upston said in a press release. The campaign tagline, everyone must go, lets Australia know that New Zealand is a must-visit destination and that we're ready and waiting to welcome them. Locals see it differently. The timing of the campaign, which comes amid government job cuts and large number of New Zealanders moving out of the country, has many complaining that the slogan's tone deaf. Everyone must go might refer to the need for toilets in some of our high tourist spots. I mean,
that's what you want associated with a tourism slogan.
The queues are ridiculous, Green Party tourism spokesperson Celia Wade Brown told RNZ. Yeah. So this isn't New Zealand's first effort this year to attract more tourists. On January 27th, the government eased visa restrictions to allow digital nomads to work remotely in the country.
It also made a reference to it being like a clearance bin.
Yeah.
when something's going out of business.
So if you take a cruise over to New Zealand and you see little white tables ringing the entire country,
Oh, yes, beware.
it's closing down in 5 years.
And we certainly don't wish that on New Zealand, but that's
No.
pretty funny. Like, that's a lot of money for that type of slogan that you have to wonder, did anybody vet it?
It doesn't make any sense either. Everyone must go. Yeah. Why don't you say everyone must go to New Zealand? Why not say the whole thing?
Right. That, even though it wouldn't be real catchy, would at least be clear.
Right. Just saying
I know.
New
I
Zealand.
feel like we're missing something here.
Yeah. A great place to visit. You know, something like that.
Right. Not a great place to leave or whatever, which is what it sounds like.
Right. You don't have. Oh, wait. How can we spin this to make it a little bit more catchy?
In
New
any
Zealand-
direction, it'll be better.
When you can't stay there, come here. You know,
Yeah,
something
but
like that.
notice you're getting away from go. It's come to New Zealand, not
Yeah.
go to New Zealand.
Yeah. If you've been kicked out of your country, come to New Zealand. You know, I don't know. Just something attractive. Not, it's repulsive.
Right, like negative or, yeah, exactly.
You know, everyone must go. And there's like a person pointing out off the island. You know?
Right, get out.
Come on. It's just so goofy. Anyway, now I'm going to be, you know, red flagged if I want to go to New Zealand because I said something. And their AI
Yeah,
is
but
going to
maybe green flag for Australia.
There you go. But everything wants to kill me in Australia. Although they have distillation laws there that seem to be much more liberal.
Yeah, but if you can't make it into your house without getting attacked by some ridiculous wildlife, I'm not sure it's worth it.
Flora and or fauna. All right, let's do our last article. The last article is, well, I don't know how I feel about it. New Jersey tap water is salty, but don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. So New Jersey
they're
tap
having
water.
a similar problem near New Orleans, and they're in a panic.
But that's because salt water levels are increasing and encroaching deeper into
Yeah, we don't know
New
what
Orleans.
the cause of this is yet. I haven't looked ahead.
Anyone living in New Jersey may want to steer clear of the tap water for the time being. An American water company explained that weird salty taste has to do with the rock salt and brine being used on the roadways. It's making it past filtration.
Why is that getting into the drinking water? Oh, because it must be like runoff or something.
Into something.
But yeah, that's concerning because like rock salt, I don't think is something you want for human consumption.
Not in general. I mean, it's going to spike people's salt intake. Before this, I had no clue that prepping our roads, sidewalks, driveways for incoming snow would affect our tap water, but then again, they suppose it makes sense. American Water put out a press release over the weekend after many of the Garden State reported a salty taste coming from their taps. Why is it making it through filtration?
Yeah, something seems wrong here.
Interesting. So Kyle Philippi over at Vice.com put the article together. It's, what is the source? So yeah, amwater.com put the article or put the press release out, and Vice.com is reporting it due to the use of salt and there's a typo, brine for public safety during the extreme winter weather and ongoing drought conditions. New Jersey residents may have noticed a salty taste, but don't worry, it's fine. The explanation went on that heavy use of rock salt and ice melt can wash into nearby waterways, potentially containing water that eventually pours from the taps. As a result, higher concentrations of sodium and chloride end up leading to saltier finish. So I guess it's because it's not something, they're not using reverse osmosis to strip all minerals out. It's
Right. But the
making it
article's pointing out that there are all kinds of warnings on the rock salt bags. So that's kind of a problem.
through. Yeah, but they're talking about ingesting actual rock salt.
Right. I got it.
I mean, salt is salt as long as it's sodium chloride. If it is some other derivation of it, that's something else. But this is just regular rock salt, then it's fine. If it's a chemical that isn't sodium chloride, that is a
Right.
bigger
Yeah,
problem.
that's a much different issue.
So, a slight caveat in their statement is that when it goes on to speak how it's safe to drink and does not pose health concerns for most individuals. But if you're immunocompromised or sensitive to salt intake, then obviously you're going to have an issue. But if you really are that sensitive to it, you really should be using reverse osmosis.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that would be a more cautious approach.
And I agree, spring can't get here fast enough. But I have a feeling that we're going to get the flip side of things. It's going to be a blistering hot and dangerous upheaval in our environment as climate change continues to upset the turnip truck. And, you know, one day it's 65 degrees, the next day it's 14.
Try to keep up.
The next day it's snowing 10 inches. The next day it's 65 degrees again. I don't think that that's normal, but apparently I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway, anything else you want to add to this?
No, but I would suggest that if you're in New Jersey and your water tastes salty, that you consider using some filtration.
Yeah, use your own filtration, get a reverse osmosis device. It uses twice as much water, but you are nearly guaranteed to remove all of that salt. Eventually, it'll build up to the point where you have to get new filters, but that's far and wide, depending on how often you use it. So I use reverse osmosis for beer brewing. So I think that it's healthier. I can control the mineral content. I can more accurately measure the particles that are in it, and this won't happen to me. So anyway, we're going to jump into this pipe and turn on the pressure, and that'll sploosh us back to the front page of ohmtown.com, where all of our news is aggregated at the front into 6 main categories and 50 channels therein, 7 of which get turned into podcasts and shows over on YouTube. They're here on Twitch for about 60 days, and then they get deleted. So I pay for that. I don't know why I pay for that if it's going to get deleted after 60 days. Anyway, that's it. I'm saying bye, and I'll take the AI with me. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Be back tomorrow for another episode.
Okay,
You doing okay there?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.